Tell me who wanna fuck with us? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
As the man who once stood trial alongside Sean Puffy Combs.
Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on SouFLoTV. Shyne is back in the United States of America. Listen, for those of you who don't know because you weren't keeping up with hip-hop back in the day or even now, this is a story about deportation. This is a story about self-preservation. This is a story about redemption. This is a story about turning around 360 degrees. This is a story about the rebirth of a human being. And in Jamaica, we have a saying, if it not dead, don't dash it away. All right. Now, Shyne returns to the United States of America 12 years after being released from prison and exiled from the country by the government. In other words, he was deported. Since 2009, his real name, Moses Michael Levi Burrow, has not been allowed to enter the United States of America due to his past criminal history. However, the Flatbush native of Brooklyn is back in the United States once again for business. After being selected to the Belizean, before we go into after being selected to the Belizean, this and that and all this other stuff, let's talk about what happened and why Shyne was deported. Okay, so in a long story short, a very well publicized incident by now. Shyne was the it person. Let me drag your memory. Let me put you in the zone. Biggie Smalls, the biggest rapper next to Tupac Shakur. Biggie Smalls at the time had recently passed away, getting killed in Los Angeles, California. Now, Biggie had a voice. You can always tell Biggie Smalls' voice from any other artist's voice. When Biggie passed away, Biggie Smalls died. This was Puffy's artist, right? Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, this was his artist. So when Biggie passed away, there was a vacuum in the music business for the crowd wanting to hear more of their favorite star. And, you know, Biggie used to call himself black and ugly as ever. However, I stay coochie down to the socks. Rings and watch filled with rocks. That was Biggie. He was braggadocious. He called himself Big, Black, and Ugly. But here came a young man with a voice that sounded pretty much exactly like Biggie's voice, even though he had a different kind of flow. And for a while, everybody thought, man, Biggie recorded a lot of music, so we're going to have music forever like Vybz Kartel. And it wasn't the case. It was a new artist that came on the scene. And when he was revealed to the public, the girls went crazy because he was this young, handsome looking, you know, a lot of girls used to go after Shyne. Don't get it twisted. I mean, like panties and bra throwing kind of thing. It was crazy. It was pandemonium. And he was coming out on Bad Boy Records, which is P. Diddy's Puff Daddy stuff. At that same time in history, Puffy P. Diddy was actually dating another mega star called Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo, Jenny from the Block. Right. So one night, Puffy went out to a club in New York City to an affair. And who did he have with him? He had Shyne with him, his young superstar up and coming, and Puffy was the man at the moment, and they got into an altercation. He also had Jennifer Lopez with him at that night. Long story short, I wasn't there, but what we were told was they ran into some enemies of Puffy, and one of the guys pulled out his gun and was about to shoot in the direction of Puffy and Jennifer Lopez. Shyne stepped up, pulled out his gun, and fired. And he ended up, you know, saving Puffy and Jennifer Lopez. Now, police got involved. Shyne got the nasty end of the stick, the shitty end of the stick, so to say. Puffy was the mega person. Shyne was just this little artist that had just gotten some level of fame and was working his way up. Then suddenly, the young gunner was locked in a fight for his freedom. They went to court. They took it to trial. Puffy got away with it. Jennifer Lopez got cleared of any wrongdoing. Shyne was the fall guy. So Shyne took the time and did about a decade in prison in the United States of America. Now, Shyne came to the United States of America at about 11 years old or so. I believe it's 13. One of those ages. But he was young, but not baby young, but he was still pretty young. He had not gotten an American citizenship. So with that violent offense came deportation after serving his time. They gave him an offer. They said you can remain in confinement. You know, that ICE stuff. You can remain in confinement and fight from there. Or you can voluntarily go back to where you came from, which is Belize. Well, Shyne said, well, my dad is the leader of the opposition party of Belize, the ruling political party of Belize, right? President, prime minister, whatever you want to call him. And I have other influential family members in politics in the country. So it's not like I'm going back to a shack in the woods. It's not like I'm going back to a zinc fence community with gunshots all around me and people dying, drug dealing, murder, rape, pillage, and plunder. You know, those wicked inner cities of third world countries. I'm going back to a cushy kind of situation. So, hey, let me go home, reset, soak up some sun, you know, enjoy the beautiful waters of Belize and get my head together. This is where it all began. I remember a lot of people making fun of him, including people like The Game, the rapper The Game, who I think one time The Game said Shyne's in a bad place and he is desperately seeking attention and that kind of stuff. So, you know, they made fun of him. Another set of people would say stuff like, oh shit, this boy went to prison, gangster, and now he's Jewish, came out Jewish. Well, it so happens that he was actually Jewish or Jew before he went into prison. He was just not a practicing Jew. So after that, and he rebranded himself, that is why you see the pictures of him wearing some traditional Jewish wares, right? And he got himself together and came back to the forefront. Now, today, you know, we do these deportation stories all the time, and a lot of them, sometimes they turn out good, sometimes they don't. Some people feel like deportation is the end of life, and nothing can happen good for you after that. Not to mention the stigma that goes along with deportation in places like Belize and Jamaica and Trinidad and these places. It's like you went to America, you got an opportunity to better yourself, and you messed up your chance. So by and large, people look at you as a big failure, a reject, for lack of a better word, right? All right, well, here is Shyne today. Now, after being selected, he got into politics and worked his way up. He even flew out of Belize to Jamaica and did an interview on Stage with Mr. Winford Williams. Y'all could go check that interview out. Now, shout out to On Stage. Now, after being selected to the Belizean House of Representatives last year and becoming the leader of the UDP party in Belize, Shyne has become one of the biggest political figures for his country. Sunday afternoon, Mr. Burrow, which is his name, confirmed that he had departed from Belize to Atlanta, United States of America, for a meeting with members of the U.S. Congress and House members to create dialogue for the development of Belize. How freaking amazing is that? This is the place that he was thrown out of. He was deported, okay? And he comes back on a different kind of papers. We're talking about diplomatic papers here. You're talking about the leader of a country diplomatic papers here. A sitting member of parliament diplomatic papers here. Now, while never becoming a naturalized citizen in the U.S., Shyne had been unable to regain entry into the United States of America for the past 12 years following his deportation. Now, with his deportation coming to an end, we expect him to be able to gain entry to the United States of America permanently, if it hasn't happened already on the low and he is just holding it down. So the likes of people like Jay-Z and P. Diddy and Kanye West and just a host of powerful people within the industry have been in his corner in recent years, with all the parties involved linking up, sitting down with him, even on video, where you would see Puff Daddy and him have what I call a very uncomfortable conversation. And the reason I say uncomfortable is because for a long time, Shyne made it public that Puffy was a snitch, that Puffy turned against him, that Puffy did everything to get him locked up and all that stuff. Now, I think they've ironed out their differences. I remember Shyne saying recently that now he understood. You know, Puffy was the multi-million-dollar entity and he was like the pawn. But, you know, it felt some kind of a way at the time having to go through that and watching someone who you just threw away your life for basically turn their backs on you. But I think they've patched up their relationship. This ain't about Puffy and Shyne's relationship. This is about Shyne's redemption story, right? And I think this is an awesome redemption story. And before he left, he said on Instagram, "Good evening, everyone. I departed Belize for an official visit to the United States today. I'll be meeting with members of the U.S. Congress as well as state senators and House members to strengthen relationship and establish new relationship to further the development of Belize. Honorable Shyne Burrow, Leader of the Opposition, House of Representative, MP for Mesopotamia, UDP." Wow. Listen, man. And then he followed that up with "Pray for Haiti" and a picture of Haiti and a message that says, "The leader of the opposition in the United Democratic Party extends its thoughts and prayers to the people of Haiti who have just suffered a 7.2 magnitude earthquake in what seems to be an endless series of man-made and natural disasters. The initial reports indicate high casualties and significant damage. A little more than 1 month after the tragic assassination of President Jovenel Moïse rocked the Republic of Haiti. Again, the people of the first independent Caribbean nation are faced with disaster. We pray that all nations who have the means to assist in the recovery do so promptly and generously. Again, signed, Honorable Shyne Burrow, Leader of the Opposition, House of Representative, MP for Mesopotamia, UDP. There's a strong message in this. And the strong message is that sometimes when you're put in the fire, it is for your own good. It is for you to be slowed down and you have the opportunity, even if it looks bad. For instance, serving 10 years in prison and then being deported looks bad. But in that bad, you can find good. It is up to you. Now, you got to remember that let's not be too unreal here. Shyne had the resources. Who his father was or is. His father served multiple terms as leader of the country of Belize. So that's to tell you already that, you know, he had something working for him already there. But he could have continued to play the gangster role. He could have continued to play the "I want to be a rapper," gangster rapper that talk about street shit and this and that. But he didn't. What he did was he had a rebirth. He redefined himself. And of course, now he's heading into his 40s. He's a grown man. And this is the 40 chapter of his life. This is where he turns up and shows up. It's a beautiful, inspirational sight to see. One more thing before I go, I'll say this. Shout out to Shyne. We at SouFLoTV extended our contacts. We tried to get in touch with him directly because we wanted Belize to be one of the places that we actually traveled to and did vlogs from there and possibly even have a sit down, not possibly, it is on the to-do list, have a sit down conversation with Shyne so others can also understand, and so we can showcase first class the beauty of his country, Belize. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. Did you live through that part of the hip-hop era? As in, were you into hip-hop and music and Shyne's music back then? Back when Puffy was dating Jennifer Lopez, were you onto all that? Were you aware of Shyne's situation? And how do you feel about it now? It's SouFLoTV. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.